Have you ever thought that the way you think shapes the way you live? Not occasionally, not just on certain days, but every single day of your life. Welcome. Welcome to the first episode of my new podcast, Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. I am your host, Elma Linz Kanefield, and for the last 45 years, I have been a specialist in the psychology for performing artists. But more about me in the next episodes, as today I want to talk with you about what Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life is about, and what this podcast can mean to you. My podcast is called Change Your Thinking. So I ask you, what is thinking? Thinking in Elma science is a conversation with yourself. Thinking is self-talk. Thinking is how each of you takes in what you notice, what you observe, remember, what you're aware of, and how you talk to yourself about it. So, it goes to follow that when you change your self-talk, when you change the conversation with yourself, you can change your life. Has anyone ever said to you, think, have a good conversation with yourself before you act? Why? Because thoughts have energy, thoughts have power, and a result always follows a thought, not the other way around. You can think, I'm not perfect, or, but I'm good enough. You can think, oh, I can't, or I can. And when you begin to think differently, change your self-conversation, you will begin to live differently. When I pause and think, I often feel a sense of wonder at how changing one single thought, big or small, can change me psychologically, interpersonally, professionally. Change your thinking, change your life is your space to think and witness the results. So what if you did just that? And you've come to the right place to practice. Today, you will hear some examples of how I changed my thinking, my conversations with myself, and the results that followed. I formerly thought that all my work was for and about performing artists only because I do work exclusively with them. And once upon a time, that thinking made sense to me. Do you hear my dog in the background? One of the ways she's changing her thinking about something. One of the ways that I changed my thinking occurred over time with the performers in my practice. These very performing artists taught me that although my work is exclusive for them, what I learned from them is not limited to them. Their narratives, their wisdom, their understanding resonates with people from all walks of life. Yes, you, performing in a school, a courtroom, a hospital, a fire station, a farm, a kitchen, a bedroom. Yes, a therapy room. I learned that their stories, their experiences reflect universal truths, truths that you'll recognize. The resilience to rise after rejection, the longing to be real, the courage it takes to be vulnerable, the fearlessness to think differently when your thoughts don't work for you. That's what we're here to discover and experience together. I now think that this space, this podcast, is for everyone. And that puts a big smile on my face. I also noticed in my work with actors and dancers, musicians, vocal artists, that many were thinking in flexible, curious ways. They were not only unafraid to think differently, they welcomed it. And their thinking was very, very exciting to me. And out of their style of thinking, I created a mantra. When you change what you're thinking, you will change how you're living. I soon repeated this mantra every day of my life. When you change what you're thinking, you will change how you're living. Got it? I would love for you to say it with me. When you change what you're thinking, you will change how you're living. Now, wherever you are and how silly you might think this is, how about clapping your hands? When you change what you're thinking, you will change how you're living. And you might even stand up and say it. When you change what you're thinking, you will change how you're living. One more time. When you change what you're thinking, you will change how you're living. I really hope that you will make this mantra yours and perhaps say it every morning when waking, or in the shower, before a business meeting, feeding your child, or maybe say it before you go to sleep. Because when you say it every day, it can become a little voice in your head that gives you the permission to think differently about how you're living. I will often include this mantra in an episode to come. In addition to this mantra, I will introduce into every episode a new thought, a new way to think drawn from my work over the last 45 years that really has helped performers in my practice. And now, if you will indulge me, just one more example of how I changed my thinking, my self-talk, by extending my thinking about what an artist is. I had formerly thought that an artist was a human being who created or recreated a visual or a performing work of art, which is true. I now think that you are all artists, as only you have the capacity to shape your own life. Remember, the way you think shapes the way you live. And here's the life-shaping thought. Only you can control and choose what you think, not your past, not other people, you. You are the artist of your thoughts, the artist of your life. I would so love to hear what you are thinking right now. In future episodes, after I have introduced some new thoughts, you take center stage. And we may also have a special guest. To listen or to watch each episode or subscribe automatically to receive them, please visit my website, elmalinzkanefield.com. And you can ask questions, concerns on my website at Ask Elma. Your contact with me promises to be my favorite part of each episode. With the exception of this merry month of May, all episodes will be posted on the first and third Tuesdays of every month. Now, before we end today, and I'm really sad about that because I've had so much fun, and I hope you have too. Let me ask you, what were you thinking just before you began listening or watching? And how were those thoughts shaping your life? Did they bring you joy? Did they empower you? Your confidence, your creativity, your authenticity? Or did they disable you, causing you to anticipate failure or that you are undeserving, unlovable? And what if you thought differently about thinking that was not serving your well-being? What if you changed those thoughts? Think about that. Have a little conversation with yourself. On our next episode of Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life, I would like to tell you about myself, as I would not be who I am, and I would not be doing what I do professionally had I not changed my thinking, changed my self-talk. So, until we can think together again, I am your host, Elma Linz Kanefield, wishing you thoughts that shape your life in joy-filled, creative, empowering, fearless ways.